Hello YouTube, this is Brendan. I have another video assignment for Teach Now, which is an online teaching certification program. This week's topic is Technology Enhanced Learning. I will read to you the report requirements. I'm supposed to turn in a vlog of 7 minutes or less showcasing a bunch of the things. These things are questions for teacher interviews on the use of technology in the classroom, a summary of responses from the 3 teacher interviews with sample responses, a lesson plan analysis of an interviewed teacher's technology-enabled lesson plan, a checklist of no more than 5 items or questions to help guide your own technology-enabled lesson plans, created in collaboration with your cohort. Okay, to get on with the actual lesson. These are the questions I asked the teachers in their interviews. I will read them to you. What kinds of technologies do you use in your classroom and how often? Do you think technology plays an important role in the classroom? What are the pros and cons of using technology in the classroom? How do you decide when using technology is appropriate? How do you limit distractions or other negative aspects of technology? Could you describe a lesson plan that makes use of technology? Now, this is what I was planning on asking them from the beginning, but in the 2 interviews I did, they both kind of answered 1 or 2 of the later questions before I got to it. I didn't ask the later questions. So now I will get on with the actual summary. Okay, here are my summaries of the interviews I did. The first interview I did was with a math teacher named Deborah. She's a friend of my parents, and thank you, Deborah, for helping me with the assignment. So I asked her, what kind of technologies do you use in the classroom and how often? She uses Chromebooks and graphing calculators. And Chromebooks are kind of like little personal laptops that the school provides that the children can use. And the way she uses them is there's some kind of math software on the Chromebooks that helps the students. There's interactive activities they can do, little quizzes they can do on the books, and it allows the lessons to be personalized because the students can go at their own pace. So she said she really likes the Chromebooks because without them it would be totally impossible for her to keep up with all the students learning at their own pace. She still has to monitor them though, and help them if they have questions. And what are the pros and cons of using technology in the classroom? Well, I kind of talked about the Chromebook already. It lets them work at their own pace. And the graphing calculators it visually demonstrates geometrical and it visually demonstrates mathematical concepts for the students. The negatives of using these technologies are that she has to monitor the students to keep them from playing games on the Chromebooks, and if a student falls behind and doesn't have internet at home, then they don't have a way to catch up. And some students just don't like computers. And I asked her, how do you decide when using technology is appropriate? She said technology is a tool, and she uses it if it actually contributes something. So for instance, she said she doesn't use Chromebooks for her advanced students because whereas for the less advanced students there's kind of a variety of aptitude, the advanced students are all kind of at roughly the same level. So there's no reason for them to have personalized lesson plans, and she has a more traditional teaching plan in that for those students. And I asked her to describe a lesson plan that makes use of technology. She said she likes to introduce trigonometry concepts with demonstrations on the graphing calculators. And the calculators let the students see immediately how changing an equation can change a graph or like a shape or something. Okay, so I think that's about everything that she said. The second person I interviewed was named Cindy. She's my aunt, and she is a psychology teacher. And thanks, Cindy, for letting me interview you. And what kinds of technologies do you use in the classroom and how often? She told me she uses something called a podium, which is a combination of a CPU, DVD player, monitor, and projector. And she uses it mostly for showing online videos in class, which are usually 10 minutes or less in duration. I asked her if she likes to use PowerPoints, and I was surprised she said she did not. And she said the reason is that teachers often use PowerPoints as a kind of crutch where they just read from the PowerPoint and they're just kind of droning on and the students just listen and don't do anything. And she really likes the podium because it lets her show pictures and videos that she otherwise wouldn't be able to show, and it lets her find information quickly. And as for the pros and cons, I think I've talked about them mostly already. Another issue with technology is if the technology goes down and the lesson plan is dependent on it, that can be a problem. So you should have a backup lesson plan too. And she gave the example that Kahoot is a good interactive use of technology. Kahoots is this website you can go to and make your own quiz on it and put the quiz up on the projector, and the students can answer the questions with their smartphones and see immediately whether they got the right answer or not. And I asked her, how do you decide when using technology is appropriate? And she said she really likes to use videos to show complex topics, like how neurons communicate with each other. That's very well explained with a 3D video showing the neurons doing their thing. So that's clearer than just explaining it with words. And she also gave the example that videos are good for showing the behavior of people with unusual mental or psychological problems, like a person with a split brain, for instance, that their left side of their brain and the right side of their brain act independently. And showing those kinds of videos is more impactful than just describing them, is what she said. Okay, I think that's about it for the summaries. Okay, a common idea that I got from talking to both Deb and Cindy is that they view technology as a tool rather than like a replacement for their regular teaching methods. So the first thing on the checklist that I'm supposed to make, this checklist is supposed to be something I use for myself to decide how to use technology in the classroom when I am teaching. And so the first thing on the list is, would using the technology in this situation allow me to do something that I wouldn't otherwise be able to do? It has to actually do something. The next point in the checklist is to consider possible downsides of using the technology. Like, will the lesson plan make the students more distracted, or will it somehow make them more passive rather than more engaged? And this is something my Aunt Cindy said I forgot to talk about, is that if your lesson plan is based on some kind of technology and it goes out, like maybe the internet cuts or the power's cut or something, or it just doesn't work, you have a backup plan. And then the last thing I thought of is the technology and lesson plan as a whole something that the majority of students would feel comfortable with? Like, for instance, I probably wouldn't use Kahoots with a group of older adult students because they would have to use their cell phones, their smartphones, to enter the answer. And maybe it's just a stereotype, but probably a lot of old people don't know how to use smartphones very well. Okay. Okay, that was my video. The topics covered were an introduction to the assignment, some trouble I had with the assignment, the teacher interviews, and a checklist I made to help me decide how to use technology in the classroom. Okay, thank you for watching, and goodbye.